Hello students, a very good morning to you. We have already completed our syllabus of biology, and from today we will start revision of chapter 1, and after completing the revision we will take your test. Clear? So students, let's revise our first chapter, that is life process of class 10. So students, what is life process? What do you mean by life process? What are constitute life process? And who are maintain life process? Clear? So life process is maintained by all the living organisms. Again your question arises, what is the definition of living? Again, if some are living, then some are must be non-living. Then what is the difference between living and non-living? So students, let's see what is the difference between living and non-living. As we know, those who can move, can grow, can locomote, can take food, can respire, etc. are called as living. As we can see their movement, means visible movements, means when some organism shows some visible movements, then we will call it as living. And those who will not show any visible movements, we will call it as non-living. So then students, you must ask me the question, ma'am, plants can show visible movement. Then why we are calling plant as living? Because plants growth is so small, means they are growing, but we can visible the growth as so slow. We can't determine the visible movement of plant. Even we cannot determine also in a short time period the visible movement of organism. But still, if we ask to a professional biologist, then he will say that the visible movement is not a defining character to explain about living. Means here, if an organism is not moving, not locomoting, or not visibly taking food, then we can say it as living or not. Of course, according to biologists, we must say that if one organism do not show any visible movements or visible activities, that is still living. Suppose for example, if I ask you, look at there is a dog, whether it is sleeping, living or non-living, then from a far distance you must say, ma'am, that dog is living. Then I will ask you, how do you know? You will say me that he is sleeping. Then how do you know it is sleeping? If you go near the dog and see, then it has heartbeat occurs and its belly increases and decreases, means contracts and expands. In this, through this activity, you will able to know that that dog is living. So here I want to explain you that if we say any organism living or non-living, that is not only from its visible movement or from its external movement, there is also some internal movements and internal activities are taking place inside the organism. That is makes the organism living or not. If in simple terms we try to understand what is living and what is non-living, then we can explain that living can move, non-living can't move, which you already studied in class 2nd. Can take food, can't take food. Can grow, can't grow. These are the simple differences. Many more differences we can find. These are the simple differences which one consider that they are the differences between living and non-living. But as I have told you, according to a professional biologist, he will not consider these as the defining differences between living and non-living. That's why in this chapter, as we are going to study about life processes, the life process is shown by these living organisms. So living organisms show life process. So students, let's understand what is life process. Life process is some combining activities or combining process. Life process is a combining process of different internal and external activities that taking place inside our body. Clear? So how can we define life process? Life process is the combination of some processes which taking place inside our body. So what are these life processes? These life processes is shown by, as I have told you, all the living organisms. Again, the living organism's body is either made up of a single cell or many cells. If it is made up of a single cell, then the cell body is directly in contact with the environment. This is the environment and this is the single cell organism. Clear? If the organism's body is single cell, then its body is directly in contact with the environment. Then it can receive food, release its excretory products, receive oxygen, etc. through the surrounding by the cell surface. But if the organism's body is made up of many cells, means multicellular organism like human beings, then how it will able to complete its life cycle? It has some specialized structures and some specialized organs and processes taking place inside the body. Again, as they are multicellular organisms, so direct contact all the cells and not necessary that will direct contact with the environment. So how these cells get nutrition? Obviously there must be some processes taking place inside the body, like oxidation and reduction, means like taking food, then taking oxygen, then transportation of that food and excretion. So students, simply we can define that life process is the combination of nutrition, then after nutrition respiration, then transportation, and last one is your excretion. These are combiningly form life process, means without these processes one organism can't be survived. Clear? Without these processes one organism, means whether it is single cell or multi-cell, can't be survived. So we will study all about these nutrition, respiration, transportation and excretion in this chapter. So here, as I have told you, that if the organism's body is made up of single cell, then how it interacts with the environment, how it takes oxygen and releases carbon dioxide. Simply here diffusion, means simple diffusion occurs. Diffusion means exchange of gases from the region of high concentration to the region of low concentration. Clear? Means if requirement of oxygen is high inside the cell and inside the cell oxygen is low, then it receives oxygen from outside and releases carbon dioxide from inside. So this is how a single cell organism maintains its life. But when we compare it with a multicellular organism, then the multicellular organism can't fulfill its requirement or oxygen requirement through diffusion, as diffusion is a slow process and can't, as we are multicellular organism, our body surface is so large and body volume is also so large, so all the cells can't get directly oxygen from the surrounding. That's why we have a system to get oxygen. Suppose for example, if I told you, if we use this mode of taking oxygen, means diffusion mode of taking oxygen, then if we take oxygen through the nostrils, then it needs 2.6 years, means 2.5 years to reach the toes. Can you imagine? If oxygen, if we don't take oxygen for 30 seconds or more than it, then we may die. You think if the oxygen taken by our nostril needs 2.6 years to reach the toes, then what will happen to our body and rest of the organs? We must die. That's why we have some processes. So students, we will study in detail about these processes. So first we will study is nutrition. Clear? We will study about nutrition. So what is nutrition? Let's define and let's explore something more about nutrition. Nutrition is the mode of taking food by an organism. how an organism takes its food. Either it itself synthesizing the food or depending on other animals and plants or other organisms for its food. So students, nutrition is divided into two types. One is your autotrophic nutrition and another is your heterotrophic nutrition. Clear? Again, autotrophic nutrition is divided into two types. That is photoautotrophic and another is your chemoautotrophic. Next, heterotrophic is again divided into three types. One is your parasitic, another is your saprophytic, and third one is your holozoic. Students, this is how nutrition divided. Nutrition is divided into autotrophic and heterotrophic. Again, autotrophic nutrition is divided into photoautotrophic and chemoautotrophic. And heterotrophic nutrition is divided into parasitic, saprophytic and holozoic. Parasitic is again divided into ectoparasites and endoparasites. Clear? Ectoparasites and endoparasites. So let's understand what is autotrophic nutrition and what is heterotrophic nutrition. As we know, auto means self and trophic means feeding. Here, autotrophic means self-feeding organisms, means those who can synthesize their own food by using the inorganic materials. Like inorganic material means non-living material. So we can define autotrophic nutrition as the mode of taking food, by an organism using inorganic substance like carbon dioxide, water and sunlight is called your autotrophic nutrition. Means this type of nutrition we can see in green plants. Example we can give here as green plants, because green plants can synthesize their food by using the inorganic substance like carbon dioxide, water and sunlight. Next, heterotrophic. What is heterotrophic? Heterotrophic means when the organism, hetero means different and trophic means feeding. When the organism depends on other organisms, either on plants or other animals for its food, then it is called heterotrophic nutrition. Then how can we explain heterotrophic nutrition? If or when the organism depend on others for its food is called heterotrophic nutrition. Again, I have told you that autotrophic nutrition is of two types, that is photoautotrophs and chemoautotrophs. So what are photoautotrophs? These are the autotrophs who use sunlight for synthesizing their food. Clear? These are the organisms or these are the plants who use sunlight. Here the important material is sunlight. Sunlight is needed by these organisms or these plants to synthesize their food. But what are chemoautotrophs? Chemoautotrophs means these are also autotrophs, means can synthesize their own food. But they need here chemical. Here the organism need or the plant needs sunlight for its photosynthesis, but here the organism needs chemical. Using chemical, it can synthesize its own food. It do not depend on others for its food. Next, I have here told you heterotrophic is again of three types. One is your parasitic, another is your saprophytic, and next is your holozoic. Parasitic means parasites are those organisms who take their nutrition from the other living organisms body. Remember students, here parasitic means when one living organism derives or takes or retains its nutrition, absorbs its nutrition from the body of other living organism. Clear? That is called parasite. Again, parasite is divided into two types. One is ectoparasites and another is endoparasites. Ectoparasite means when the organism takes nutrition from the outside the body. Means suppose for example lice, jue, that is in your head. So here the lice is ectoparasite, means as it takes blood or nutrition from our body from outside. That's why we can give example of ectoparasite as lice, and also leech, which you call zome, lice, leech, and examples of ectoparasites as they deserve or take their nutrition from the outside the body of other living organism. Here endoparasites, endo means in. Here the organisms take their food from inside the body, like your hookworms, roundworms that are present inside our stomach. They take nutrition from our body and also harms us. That's why we will call them as endoparasites. So here we can give example of hookworms and roundworms. Clear students? So parasitic nutrition I have defined here. Parasitic means those organisms who take nutrition from the other living organism's body, either from outside. If take outside, then it is called ectoparasites. Example, lice and leech. If take nutrition from inside the body, then we can say that is endoparasites, and example is hookworm and roundworm. Next is your saprophytic. This is another group of organisms. This is another group of organisms who take their nutrition from the dead organisms. Means they also taking their nutrition, but from the body of dead organisms. Suppose for example fungus, or we can give more simple example, mushroom. You all know about mushroom and you have also eat mushroom. So mushroom is a saprophytic organism that always grows on dead and decaying substances. That's why when it grows on dead and decaying substances, it retains the nutrition, or it derives the nutrition from the dead organisms. So here that is called saprophytic nutrition. Next is your holozoic. Holozoic nutrition is shown by human beings who take food by their mouth or bit by bit. Means here we can define those who take food through mouth, bit by bit is called holozoic. So this type of nutrition is shown by human beings. We saw holozoic mode of nutrition, duck saw holozoic mode of nutrition, zebra saw holozoic mode of nutrition, amoeba also saw holozoic mode of nutrition. So this is all about your nutrition that I have explained here. Now we will study and explain in detail about autotrophic mode of nutrition in detail in the next class.